Let's talk about startup and shutdown routines. Do you feel overwhelmed at work? Is there always too much stuff to do? These two simple routines help me stay on top of everything, and hopefully they can help you too. I'm James, an engineer and a productivity coach from Seattle. I work for a small R&D company and I've got to juggle a lot of tasks. Between managing projects, sending invoices, and occasionally doing some engineering work, I felt overwhelmed a lot. Before I started using startup and shutdown routines, I went through my day with like a haze over my head, sort of like, should I be working on this right now? Oh, what if I get an email and suddenly I switch? And oh no, like, what about this priority and that priority? When I felt overwhelmed, I would drink more coffee or Diet Coke, and then I would listen to death metal because I thought that would make me more productive. But what it did was just build and build on that anxiety. I was afraid that if I didn't get the work done fast enough, I might be passed over for that raise. I might be at risk of being fired. So all this overwhelm built. And I operated this way for years. It works. One day I read a book by Dan Charnas called Work Clean. In the book, Dan takes a look at kitchens and how they operate. There's a lot of parallels between kitchens and knowledge work. You have to juggle a whole bunch of projects at once. You don't know when things are going to be short or when you're going to have too much stuff. You don't know exactly when the customer is going to want a thing or not want a thing. And the biggest takeaway for me was this idea of a startup and a shutdown routine. At a restaurant, you wouldn't open the restaurant before putting all the chairs down and making sure everything is clean and turning on your point of sale system. But for some reason, I thought it was okay to wake up 5 minutes before my meeting, slam down a coffee, and just jump right into work. It's the same thing with shutdown routines. As soon as 5 p.m. would hit, I would just turn off my computer and leave. But if you did that at a restaurant, you'd be stuck with all these leftover dirty dishes and the floors would be dirty and nothing would be clean. And then the next day you'd be even more overwhelmed. So in Work Clean, Charnas talks about how we can take these ideas of startup and shutdown routines and bring them to knowledge work. Let's hop onto the computer and I'll show you how these startup and shutdown routines work. Alright, so I've opened Notion and this is a page of my daily routines. You'll see here that the morning routine I have, this AM routine, is different from my startup routine. That's because my AM routine is more about relaxing in the morning and getting ready for the day, and my startup routine is more about getting prepped for work and knowing what I need to do. Let's open the startup. So the goal of my startup routine is plan, visualize, prepare, and then start on my top priority for the day. So first things first is just a deep breath. Often there's a lot of anxiety around working and tasks, stuff like that. Deep breath helps a little bit. Then I just take a big old brain dump into my task manager Todoist. I list out everything I could possibly need for work, things that are on my mind that I just want to get out of my head so that everything is clear and I know that I've got everything written down. Then I go ahead and schedule what my day looks like by taking today's tasks and rectifying them with the time I have in the day. I use a tool called Sunsama for this. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on how I plan my day in this video, but I'll link an article that goes more in depth, and I'll probably make a video on daily planning next week. Once I've scheduled my tasks based on deadlines and importance, I'll postpone any tasks that didn't quite fit into my day for later. Planning in this way is super important to make sure that I'm not mixing managing and doing. Managing and doing require two different mindsets, and mixing the two is what causes a lot of this anxiety and overwhelm during the day. If you make a plan and you stick with it, you can just do your work without having to worry about it. And when you're done with the task, then you can go back into manager mode and think about what to do next. So while I'm still in manager mode with the start routine, I like to ask myself, what are the least valuable tasks that I've scheduled for today? Often we think we have to do everything that's on our task list, but that's actually wrong. There's an infinite number of possibilities of things you could be doing. And the important thing is to figure out what's important, what's producing the most value, and what's unique to you. If I can delegate it or postpone it or just never do it at all, that's a better option than having to do something. Lastly, I look at my calendar and I make sure that there's enough buffer room for breaks and for lunch and for making room for the unexpected. Once I've got everything lined up, I take the first step. Now let's hop on over to our shutdown routine. The goal of the shutdown routine is to make sure everything is tidy and clean and that I can leave work at work. So first things first is I clear any paper notes or notepads, notebooks, anything that I've written a little note on, and I clear that up. If there's any tasks that are written down, I get them into my task manager, and if there are papers that are just done, I make sure they're recycled. I then take a look at the daily plan I made and look at if there's any tasks that didn't get done, can I reschedule them for tomorrow, or if they're much longer in the future, I'll put them back into Todoist. I'll take a closer look at my calendar and see if there's any appointments that need to be rescheduled, things that are coming up in the future that I need to be aware of, stuff like that. I'll then take a look at my task manager Todoist and I'll close any open loops. I'll take anything that's in the inbox and I'll make sure to assign it to a project or an area so that my inbox isn't cluttered. I'll reorder projects by importance, and I'll sort of look through each project and make sure everything is there. Finally, I make sure that all the devices I need, like my headphones and my Oculus Quest, are charging overnight so that in the morning they're fresh and they'll last all day. Once my shutdown routine is complete, I can leave work at work and enjoy the evening. With both of these routines in place, I'm getting clarity on a daily basis, both in the morning and in the evening. This means that during the workday, I feel calmer, I have less anxiety, I know what to do, and if things come up, I know I can handle them. If you want to try these startup and shutdown routines yourself, I've included links in the description below for templates. You should treat these like a starting point and customize the routines to fit your needs. Give these startup and shutdown routines a try and let me know how it goes. If you like this video, here's a video about my Notion dashboard that you might find helpful. See you next time.